Okay, today we are playing a game on Numbani. The average SR of this game was 2,234, and we will be playing Zenyatta the entire way through. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, D.Va, Soldier 76, Bastion, Mercy, and Zenyatta. So I wouldn't really consider Bastion to be ideal, but it is what we have. So there's that. It's pretty average aside from that. But Reinhardt's also not fantastic at this defending the first checkpoint on Numbani, because the first checkpoint is a lot about high ground control. And Reinhardt has no vertical mobility, on top of just kind of being slow in general, so he's not ideal. Orisa tends to be better because she can affect fights on the high ground. She can also sit over here with us on this balcony, and we can have a great time. But no, we've got Reinhardt. Whereas Reinhardt electing to stand, by the way, down there, so he's going to be very productive about that. So we're standing over in the correct position. Nobody else is. Reinhardt's on the low ground right now, guarding no one. Soldier's standing over there on the other balcony, which maybe if there was someone over there with him, he'd get away with it, but like, he's over there by himself. As soon as anybody comes through that doorway, he's gonna have to give up the high ground. So, and look at that, people are coming out that doorway, he's had to immediately give up the high ground, and now Reinhardt's like, oh fuck, I needed to be on the high ground the entire time, but I was on the low ground, now I gotta walk my slow ass up the staircase. Oh look, I'm arriving right as my team is retreating. That's why you just stand up there. So, now, we do almost kinda get killed over here. I haven't gone back enough. So we do kinda almost get killed over here. We're standing over here with no shield. So, we gotta be, like, standing near something that we can use as cover the entire time. Because, like, we start getting hit, and then we have to, like, go through the process of getting behind cover. Whereas you can just hover, like, here, and then as soon as you start getting shot, or you see projectiles coming towards you, you can just get behind cover. If you ain't got a shield, you want to just be, like, able to go, oh, I'm in cover now. Rather than having to, like, walk there. Well, you know, we're Zenyatta. We don't walk, really, but you know. Zenyatta is theoretically the best flanker in the game because he doesn't walk, right? So he doesn't make footstep sounds. So he'd be really good at flanking if he wasn't terrible at flanking. So, but we're playing Zenyatta, we're over here, we're having a great time putting orbs on people. We had put the orb on Mercy prior, we left it on her, fight won, great times, Isn't this a fantastic feature, by the way, to finally be able to see the health on the person that your Harmony orb is on, and your Discord orb as well. So they're still fighting over there, go get 'em, boys, I guess, you know, we're gonna continue to wait over here. We've almost got Transcendence built up. Somebody was shooting at the balcony next to us, which concerned me, but nobody was actually over there, because I just saw Bastion, like, shooting the balcony, but nobody appears to have actually been over there. So we gotta wait for them to come back. It's a pretty long spawn walk for the attacking team on Numbani, though I'm starting to wonder if they're ever actually coming back, because it's starting to take a while now. It's like an entire minute that we didn't actually see them at all, which, I mean, no complaints, right? They can take as long as they want, just start taking a real long time. So now they're splitting up, some of them are coming up and some of them are coming down, which is usually good for the other team, because here's what you do when the enemy team is splitting up, right? You just immediately collapse on one side, because this is how you beat, like, pincer attacks and stuff like that. You just collapse on one side really hard, because that's one side is going to be outnumbered. Doesn't matter which side you pick. If they're splitting up, one side's going to be outnumbered. You just collapse on it and kill them. And I did that right next to the microphone. I'm sorry. That's how you beat that that's how you beat that. So, we just, like, really panic, it seems like, because, nothing was happening. Did we say something? Professionalism. We heard Soldier use Tac Visor as well. But he died in the kill feed as well before we actually pushed it, so we just, like, majorly panic and end up wasting Transcendence, which isn't a great ultimate to end up wasting, because Transcendence can definitely be the difference between a fight you won and a fight you lost. And based on how long it took them to regroup last time, we might only see them one more time, because Jesus Christ. We've had 2 team fights, there's only a minute and a half left, we've had exactly 2 team fights this entire time. They've done a really bad job of actually regrouping and pushing. As you might notice, though, they do get the first checkpoint eventually. Because otherwise it wouldn't be an 18-minute long video, would it? So, they're coming in now. They're using ultimates. They haven't used any fantastic ultimates. They have all of the B-grade ultimates. But it got mercy. Oh, no. Now we're playing little old Zenyatta, and we're the only healer alive, so we're gonna have to try and keep up. It's alright, we had a lot of better ultimates, so we've kind of driven them off. But we've been crept upon by Mei. Now, Mei tried to do this once before, so we just kind of have to be, like, paying attention to that doorway. Did we ever see Mei, like, run to the staircase during the fight? Because, you can usually see them going for it, unless we weren't looking at it at the time. There goes Mei. There goes Mei. We saw her go up the staircase. She tried it once before, so we can expect her to try it again. So we've got to kind of, like, either keep an eye on the hallway, or keep an eye on the staircase over there. Because if you're on this balcony, you can see them going for the staircase, and we did see her go through the staircase. We were looking at the time. We just didn't notice it at the time. You gotta be looking for it. She already did it once. She's gonna do it again. Or if she doesn't do it again, like, somebody's probably gonna try, because we've been sitting up there the entire time. You just gotta be paying attention to it, basically. Especially if you're a hero that's basically fucked if they get snuck up on. Like, if you're playing Zenyatta and you get crept upon by basically anyone, it's over. So you gotta just not get crept upon. It's the only solution. Because if you look at a situation and say, oh, there was nothing I could have done by this point, well, then the only logical thing to do is go a step back and be like, well, how could I have just not been in that position to begin with? So we've got Transcendence again now. We shouldn't really be fighting this far up, honestly, because we're kind of fighting them, like, literally right outside their spawn, which you don't really want to do. Though saying that, Numbani is one of those spawns where the attacking team can kind of get camped in there, and if they don't, like, go out the other door, they can kind of get fucked in that hallway for a long time, because it is just, like, one long hallway that comes out into this fuck room with 2 rooms out. But, like, you can also just go a different way when you come out of the spawn and circumnavigate that completely. But people don't want to do that. They never want to use the second door in any of their spawns, even if they're getting fucking majorly camped. Like, Nepal on Sanctum. You ever been in the situation where they're inside the room with a large health kit and you just can't even, like, get into that first room? There's doors on the left and right side of the big door that get you in there and, like, circumnavigate that issue. People never take those doorways, though. They just always keep trying to brute force the doorway that wasn't working. There are options in the game for a reason. If one route's not working, you do usually want to just try the other route. So we used Transcendence because Blizzard was happening, and people did get caught in the Blizzard, so fair enough. Junkrat was using his tire, and he got killed by Orisa. Orisa got pretty staggered in there. If you can stagger somebody, you want to try to. Now, you do have to work with your team on this one. Like, you have to try and, like, get your team, call out to your team, like, stagger them. And that's not always going to work out. We could have, like, delayed that Orisa's death more, because she was, like, way out of position and not going to get out. But that's very dependent on your team, obviously, and how willing you are to communicate. I don't talk to fucking anybody, because the Overwatch community is trash. But, if you don't mind talking to people, and you have the opportunity to stagger someone, it's good to do. So we're still fighting all the way up here, and honestly, it's been going a lot better than expected. I must be honest with you, I haven't been paying super close attention to who we've had our orbs on this entire time, which is very professional of me, of course. I'm sure it's probably fine. It's probably maybe fine. It's okay. Orisa just put her bongo down in the middle of the street, just, yep. Gonna break that real quick. No big deal. Easy. Now they've only got one fight left. You know, they'll get here. We're still right outside their spawn. We got Transcendence, though, for the last fight, which is good, because, you know, it's good ultimate. Completely nulls out other people's ultimates, usually. But, as you might be able to tell from the duration on the video, yeah, they get past here as well. Don't overextend. as is expected on, like, this goes a lot better than your average Numbani street phase, for certain, but it is still the streets. As soon as you lose one team fight, you tend to keep losing the team fight, or keep losing the checkpoint. So Soldier's using Tac Visor, and we just immediately use Transcendence. It is the kind of ultimate where you'd usually just use it as soon as you hear it, but obviously, if I'm bringing it up, there's an issue that I saw with it. As soon as YouTube decides that it wants to work, they only have an actual infinity dollars, but, you know, sometimes, I'm gonna have to do video editing. I refuse. Come on, maybe if we go, like, super ahead. No. Okay. Fine. Be that way. I fucking hate technology. Okay, we've done it. The video's working again. Fantastic. Oh god, I'm gonna have to, like, split the video. Jesus Christ, the horror. So, we were trying to get it on that boy. We do just use, Transcendence as soon as we hear Tac Visor. The thing is, though, you think about, like, the position we're in, right? Soldier is going to be coming this way. Maybe he's gotten behind us, in which case that's an issue. That's okay, though. We can look in that direction to see if he's coming that way. If he's coming from this way, like, there's a fucking ton of shit in the way. Like, there's a shield here, Diva's here, he's got to get around the corner to actually see the team. We can go behind the truck, we can go back around that way. He's not in a position where Tac Visor is actually that likely to get very much done, so we could have held it in that position and used it for this situation instead, which would have been a much better use of it. Because his Tac Visor ended up, like, it was unlikely to do anything from that position. And if he did get into a position where he started being threatening, we can always just push it, right? Like, he wasn't in a position where he was gonna we were gonna immediately get fucking killed, right? So, it would just... It's one of those ultimates where usually you can just, like, do it as soon as you hear it, and, like, it's not gonna be a big deal, but, like, sometimes it is a big deal, because we could have held it for the Tac Visor and then used it for the Blizzard instead, which was the thing that actually lost us the team fight. Tac Visor probably wasn't going to lose us the team fight from that position. This will tie into the question in the email at the end of the video. We didn't answer the question at the start because it makes more sense to address at the end of the video. Don't let me forget that there was a question in the email, okay? This is very important. So we lost the street phases on Numbani. We lost one team fight, and then that was it. It was all over. And they got it in overtime as well, so we had the extra long spawn, plus the massive walk back on Numbani. Plus, we didn't all die in unison, so yeah, they captured that checkpoint real fast. It's alright, they haven't got very much time to capture this checkpoint, and this is like the hard checkpoint to capture, honestly. I think this checkpoint is harder to capture than the first checkpoint, because it's kind of just like this long-ass street that you have to push down. There are not very many options on this checkpoint. The first checkpoint has more options. So we're sitting back here having a great time right now. Way far away from the fight, very hard for them to get to us. You can get flanked from this position because you can't see the right-hand side very easily, so you do have to keep an eye out, but your long-range hero sitting all the way back here is usually pretty good. You can kind of end up getting, like, caught out there if they collapse on you really quickly, but, like, if you get collapsed on really quickly anyway, something else was probably going wrong. So their Junkrat started using his tire. It didn't really get very much done. We've got Transcendence. They're already kind of losing this fight, and we've got Transcendence, so it's very hard to imagine us losing this team fight. Mercy's using Valkyrie, yeah, but, like, oh, big deal. So we're using Transcendence right now, Soldier's using Tac Visor, so it's fair enough time. Mercy ends up dying anyway, it's not the end of the world, because their entire team's dead. So, Mercy being dead doesn't matter if you've already won the round. So, great. Overall, like, a pretty good round. In the email, I believe you specifically, for this game, specifically mentioned the ultimates. Feel like my ults were super low value this game, and I know my Harmony Orb uptime has been inconsistent recently, as I haven't played the game in about a month. I'll be honest with you, I'm a very professional man, and I haven't been keeping super close attention on the orbs, because I have a poor attention span, and, you know. The ults haven't been fantastic, though. This will tie into the question at the end of the video. So now we're attacking Numbani. They got it basically to the end of the track, so we have to get it to the end of the track, basically. But, based off that first round, they're not very good. So I'd be feeling pretty optimistic about it, honestly. Now, I see Reinhardt doing this, though, and I'd be a little bit less optimistic about it, because that's the kind of thing where you go, I see. Yeah. He wasn't that bad in the defending round. I mean, the team was in a bad position, but, there's not that much we can do about that ourselves. If it's one of those things where, like, if your team is too far up, you're going to end up having to be too far up by extension of that. So we've killed 3 of their team right now, and one of them was Mercy, so they're basically fucked, because we're all here. They're like, she's not got her teleporter down yet. We've won the checkpoint. Easy money. We gotta do the street phase, which is, you know, no big deal. So now, basically, we've only got the last checkpoint. Because, let's be real, who goes on to Numbani and then goes, oh no, the street phase, I don't know if we're going to be able to capture it. No, that's not a thing that happens on this map. So, we're, probably gonna get to the last, don't be standing perfectly still. Even if you think there's nothing can happen, it can still happen. Don't be standing perfectly still anyway. Or floating perfectly still as Zenyatta. Because he doesn't actually walk anywhere. Lazy asshole. So, we're gonna sit on the payload and have a great time. Their Mercy's dead right now. Their soldier's also dead, so sucks for them. Here we do initiate a bit of a risky maneuver. We go right next to the edge versus a Pharah. And I get we want her dead, but, like, she can bump you off the edge. And she tried. She tried. Don't go that close to the edge if you're trying to kill a Pharah, because, oh, just one button press and you can be off the edge and dead. And, Transcendence doesn't save you from that one. That's always my favorite response. Zenyatta's fallen off the map, and they're like, oh no, I'm gonna die. Q. Oh, fuck. Right. I still die. Damn it. You laugh. You think, no, nobody could ever think that. Nobody's that bad. Oh, no. My friend did that once. She's pretty high ranked. She still did it. It happens. So we captured the checkpoint. Shockingly enough, we captured the second checkpoint on Numbani. I know, it's unbelievable. It's almost as hard as capturing the first checkpoint on Eichenwald. Only almost, though. So Tracer's dead. Tracer's like, res me! You know, Mercy's, oh, she was gonna try. So we're using TAC Visor right now because, we're not using TAC Visors. Zenyatta can't use TAC Visor. That'd be scary. We're using Transcendence right now because we heard TAC Visor. Unfortunately, Mercy still died. Unfortunately, Reaper also still died. So, basically the worst possible situation where we ended up using our ultimate to cancel out the other ultimate and stop our team from dying. They died anyway. But, we're kind of still moving forward somehow, surprisingly enough. It's coming... Oh, kick her! There we go. We got her. So, amazingly, we actually didn't, like, lose the fight, even though, like, we lost Mercy, really early on. We somehow, like, kept going on in the fight. Now we're starting to gain some forward momentum. That's, you know... She started rezzing somebody. Did a nice spin before she died as well. I do think Mercy should be able to cancel the resurrect animation, right? Maybe, like, give half the cooldown back if you're feeling generous. Maybe just, like, don't give you the cooldown back at all. But, like, I do think Mercy should be able to cancel her own res, with some penalty for that, because there are a great many situations where, like, right as you start rezzing, something terrible starts happening, and you're like, oh no, now he's gotta watch my death come for me. And there's, like, nothing you can do to, like, stop the res. You kind of have to hope you get interrupted by getting knocked back. I do think Mercy should be able to interrupt it. So Tracer's just gone and killed, like, 3 people. So, great. Yeah, we didn't really have to do very much to start getting progress here. We're really low. We're trying to get Mercy back quicker. Good practice. If your Mercy is coming back from spawn, try to give her somebody to GA to get back quickly. Because you do want Mercy back quickly. We should have put the Harmony Orb on this Mercy quicker, because she actually started getting, she actually was like half health before that started. But we didn't put it on her until, like, the blizzard started happening. She's not allowed to do that. Don't do what that Mercy just did. Don't go into the middle of the fucking square and try to res somebody, because you'll die. Then we died as well. We got hit by Earth Shatter. Not surprising. You have Big Gay. Who has Big Gay? Who has big... Oh, she said it's Mercy saying it to Reinhardt. I mean, Reinhardt is big, so he may have Big Gay. I don't know. His hair is magnificent also, so he may. Are we talking shit? We're talking about how we're in gold SR.
I say let's regroup, I don't mean to go in.
Well, I mean, we're in gold SR, and what do you expect from Reinhardt?
We are indeed talking shit. True, but yeah, we are indeed talking shit. So attack visor's happening. We lived, miraculously enough. So, great. Didn't have to worry about that one. I mean, we worried about it, but it didn't actually amount to very much of anything, so great. Moira's in here. Moira comes out of the doorway. It was a risky move. She could have gone backwards. Thank goodness D.Va didn't decide to kill us right there, right? Because she super could have killed us if she wanted to, but she just kind of decided to float past us instead. Thank goodness. Harmony Orb not on anybody during this fight, even though we know D.Va lost her mech, so... we really don't want D.Va to die. If she lost her mech and, like, Moira's running at her, she's probably getting fucked right now. So YouTube is still a fantastic platform that is completely absent of flaws in any way, as we can see right here. Alright, let's back it back up again now that it started working. It almost stopped working again. Do you see that one right there? So D.Va, we can see D.Va's getting diddled by the orb, and Moira's running forward, but we don't put the Harmony Orb on her until, like, the fight's already done, and she almost died. We don't want D.Va to die. Shockingly enough, we don't want really anybody to die, but as, you know, acceptable losses and all that. Here comes Mercy to touch the point, because she has to touch it or lose. She rezzed Reinhardt. It's okay. Reinhardt's gonna die pretty quickly afterwards. Oh no, Mercy's dead. It's okay. We won the game. Woo! I have to show you all something. Because I discovered today that it is possible to draw on a payload map. I didn't think it was actually possible. It is actually possible. We'll let this play, and then I'm going to show you a GIF of the incident in question, because we have to see it. It has to be seen, right? Because I say that to you, that's the kind of thing that needs a backup. So let's bring this over here. I believe... No. Oh, good heavens. Good heavens. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There. No, that's the wrong one. I got like 20 billion tabs open right now. Alright, let's start it again. Let's start it again. Here it goes. Because the way I had imagined a draw on a payload map working would be neither team pushes it anywhere, right? Which seems super unlikely. No, it turns out this also would count. Which also does make sense. Because it would have to be at the gates, realistically, wouldn't it? Because it is just hard locked into the same position until the gates are actually moved. Look at that, you can draw on a payload map. On a pure payload map, I should say. Who knew? Who knew, right? I mean, I guess the gates make sense, because I always thought that, like, a team would have to push it nowhere. But no, yeah, the gates, it's going to end up in the same position while the gates are opening, so if... I guess it could happen. It still has to be, like, a less than 1% case, right, that it actually happens anyway. So the question in the email was, do you see anything particularly egregious in these games? The other game being the Mercy game we watched a couple of days ago, where we got mega salty. Egregious in these games that could be preventing me from hitting and staying in Platinum. That would, based off these two games, that would be ult execution probably, because Our ults in this game weren't very good, and our ults in the Mercy game also weren't very good. Now, the Mercy game was a shit show for various reasons, but our ults weren't very good in that game either, and our ults were not very good in this game. So, that seems to be the consistent thing between the two of them, so that's probably the reason. Ult execution is very important, because Overwatch is pretty based around ultimates, as it turns out. They're a very important aspect of the game. I guess this is a semi-common argument I get into with nerds on the internet, where people in a game will be real salty, because they'll be like, oh, why don't you throw more ults at the objective, blah, 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 and I'm like, yeah, you know, that's kind of how you play Overwatch, and they're like, no, it isn't! No, yeah, like, that's how you play Overwatch. You know, weirdly enough, the thing that is strongest about a hero is probably going to be their ultimate. So that is probably going to be the thing that is most important. Yeah, the ultimate's pretty important. That's probably it. We've talked about the ultimates as they came up. Apparently, our Harmony Orb uptime was inconsistent. I'm a very professional individual, and I didn't notice that. But I also kind of wasn't looking, because I have a short attention span, and I was talking about other nonsense at the time. So, if you say so. So, yeah, ult execution is probably it, because that's the consistent thing between the two games as being an issue. So it's probably ult execution that's, like, stopping it. It is also, like, very important. Platinum is probably the point where ult execution starts to matter the most, now that I think about it, because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you can get out of bronze and silver by just kind of being able to aim, or just being able to, like, control the high ground, things like that. Like, people are so bad that you just being competent is enough to climb. But then, as you, like, ult execution is very important. Platinum is probably, like, gold into platinum is probably the point ult execution starts to, like, really matter as a thing. And then after that, it becomes, like, the finer grain stuff, like positioning. Yeah, so ult execution is probably it based off of the two games that we have seen here. So, hopefully that answers your question. We talked about the ults as they happened, blah, 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 blah. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your question inadequately, please let me know and I'll try to expand further. And I hope you found the video helpful.